So let's look at Reading's press. I consider it to be a high press, an aggressive press, and one without triggers. The only trigger really being that once the ball is played by the goalkeeper. Now Arsenal are set up with the central defenders in the box, ready to be played to by the goalkeeper, the right back and the left back out wide in a typical expanded in possession formation. Reading are much more compact in a similar arc, with the central midfielders supporting in behind, and they're interestingly positioned so that they can both move onto the defensive midfielders of Arsenal, but also they're not completely committed to that. They can drop back if the ball is played long. If you look at Reading's striker and attacking midfielder, they're ready to press quickly onto those central defenders, also with a mind of screening a pass into the Arsenal midfielders behind them. Finally, it's worth looking at the wide players of Reading, who are positioned in between the fullback and the midfielder of Arsenal. And this is really efficient because it means that they can either get out wide if the ball comes on their side, or they can come in narrow if the ball goes out the other side of them. So if it goes out on this right winger, if it goes out to the left wing, they can come across. And this keeps them compact, and it's very difficult to play through them. And ultimately, that's what Reading want to do. They want to stop Arsenal from playing out from the back.
Zinsberger wants to play this short, but look how high the Reading press is.
Notice how the attacking midfielder has curved their run, coming into the side of the player as they're putting them under pressure. This makes it really difficult for the central defender to play the ball back to the goalkeeper, and is pushing them out wide. As with all players leading the press, you have to make the sacrifice knowing that it's unlikely you're actually going to win the ball. Another thing that's worth noticing is that the left winger has not fully committed to going out to the right back. They're still halfway between the midfielder and the right back. And this serves two purposes. One is that it means that they can mark or press either, but also it invites the pass in to the right back, which I think is what Reading want. It's also worth noticing that the central midfielder has recognised the possibility of a long ball and is sensibly adjusting their position to drop a little bit deeper. Important that these players are looking at cues from the body shape of the ball player as to whether they might go long, so she's seen something that worries her. You'll notice that Reading have squeezed 8 players in an area the size of probably less than a quarter of a pitch, and this makes them very compact. Everybody's in support of each other. If what happens is the long ball is played and there's a second ball to win, there's plenty of players around to press, win the ball and support each other, and that's exactly what happens. The result is, if there was a slightly better pass, would be a goal scoring opportunity.
She's looked really good attacking down the right as far as Reading are concerned. They're the right.
So we can look at a few examples following the same pattern throughout the first half of this match.
It's finished now, by the way, between Manchester City and Aston Villa, and City have done their goal difference the world of good. Still 8 behind Arsenal after a 7-0 win against Villa. Everton currently 3-0 up on Bristol City too. Should mention, by the way, no Jordan Nobbs in the Arsenal squad today. She's missing out with a calf problem. Offside is a decision there.
And this happened time and again in the first half, and Reading really took advantage of the fact that Arsenal are quite predictable in as much as that they will always try and play out from the back, but eventually Arsenal seemed to give up and just did start to kick the ball long. And this still worked to Reading's advantage because they're very good at dealing with high balls and second balls, so they were still able to get the turnover of possession. Now let's compare Reading's press with England's press against Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland have got both their central defenders in the box, and left back and right back are out wide, although they're not as far forward as Arsenal's. Their defensive midfielder has come very short as a passing option, and England have that similar arc, but because the full-backs aren't as far forward, the wingers are a bit more advanced. And you'll notice that the striker and the attacking midfielder are not right on the edge of the box, and that's because they're not going to press really aggressively as soon as the ball is passed. They are happy for the two central defenders and the goalkeeper to have the ball. There's no pressure. But then as soon as the ball goes wide, that is the trigger, and that then increases the intensity of the pressure that England will put on the players. And it's Lauren Hemp here, who's the left winger, who will now push the fullback really intensely, cause the mistake, and England win the ball back with a throw-in. And it seems a consistent theme that England are happy for the goalkeeper and the central defenders to have the ball. But as soon as that ball is played particularly wide, then you see the intensity of the press is triggered. And then they're looking to win the ball with support from the midfield, high up, with the opportunity to create a chance or score a goal. In this particular clip, you see that they actually reset.
Here is Horton.
It seems that the second trigger for England to press is any ball that gets played past the first line of the press and into midfield. So here you can see that Northern Ireland are shifting the ball between their central defenders, and England are happy to just shuffle across in their shape and let them have the ball. Here you can see Stanway gets tempted into putting pressure on and then backs off. As soon as that ball's played into midfield, Ella Toone pounces, pressure on, they win the ball high up in a really dangerous place, and there's an opportunity to score a goal.
Here is Hemp to Stanway, almost. Northern Ireland get the crucial.
It would just be a great achievement for her captain, 150th cap and a goal.
This is the perfect example of what England are trying to achieve.
Got a lovely story about making her debut against the Netherlands all the way back in 2006, and came on for the England great Kelly Smith. Said she was so nervous as a young 19-year-old to come on.
Here's the trigger.
And now 150 caps on. She is one of the England greats, and England might capitalise here, and they do. That is clinical from Ellen White.
So I think this final clip's worth looking at, because obviously in being so consistent with the way that England play, they are sort of in control and they force Northern Ireland to play in a certain way. And obviously it's very difficult to react very quickly, but it's it's much easier to predict what's going to happen. If you see Rachel Daly, who's the number 7 on the left wing here, she gets her positioning just right, so she's far enough away to tempt the player to make the pass, but then immediately, because she knows that that pass is so predictable, she manages to make a great interception and a really good cross, which could have ended in a goal.
At the edge of the 6-yard box.